In the heart of Port Harcourt, amidst the chorus of distant church bells and the constant hum of traffic, lived a woman named Omalicha Chukwueze. Known to her friends as Amma, she was 27 years old, a woman whose slim, graceful build and gentle eyes masked the weight of burdens she had carried for much of her life. Amma's world revolved around faith, family, and the modest hopes she guarded deep within. Since the tragic death of her parents in a gas explosion in Elim, Amma had become mother, father, and protector to her younger brother, Chisholm. Their one-room apartment in Ramakuta was simple: a foam mattress shared with her brother, a rickety wooden table cluttered with lesson notes, a faded Bible, and a single standing fan that only worked when Nipa remembered them. Despite all, Amma maintained the place with a gentle pride, drawing comfort from her morning devotions and her role as a primary school teacher at the local church-run school. Every day before sunrise, Amma would stir from sleep, wrap her hair in a scarf, and quietly prepare yam porridge or pap for Chisholm. At 16, Chisholm was tall for his age, his slender frame a reminder of years of rationed food. He was clever, witty, and sometimes mischievous, but always respectful, especially with his sister, whom he idolized. Their routine was shaped by hardship but buoyed by ritual. Each morning, Amma led her brother in prayer before he left for school, her voice trembling with conviction. "Lord, today as we go out, go before us. Let your grace find us, and let us not lack." Afterwards, Amma would walk to the school, her floral Ankara dress and neat bun making her seem older than her years. Her colleagues respected her, not just for her diligence, but for her unwavering faith. In a world where shortcuts and compromise were the norm, Amma was incorruptible. Her students loved her gentle discipline and her warm, lilting voice that made even multiplication tables sound like poetry. At church, Amma's role as the worship leader was legend. Every Sunday, her voice soared above the congregation, drawing even the most distracted worshipers to a moment of quiet awe. "When Omalicha sings, even heaven kneels," an elderly deacon once said. Her faith was deep, not loud. She didn't preach with words, but with her life. Yet, Amma's heart was not her own. She had given it to Ebubemba, a 30-year-old mechanic with the kind of smile that could disarm any anger. Ebube was lean and strong, his deep brown skin often smudged with grease, his hands toughened by years of hard labor. He was as devoted as Amma, gentle, ambitious, yet weighed down by his own struggles. For 3 years, they had loved each other quietly, saving little by little for a wedding that was to happen that December. They dreamed of a small, joy-filled celebration. Amma had begun to sew her own wedding dress from a length of lace bought at the oil mill market, carefully hiding the work in progress under her bed. Ebub, meanwhile, was saving every kobo he could from the cars he repaired under the tarpaulin workshop along Ikwer Road, vowing to one day open his own garage. Their hope was hard-earned. Port Harcourt was a city that gave with one hand and snatched with the other. Prices rose faster than wages, and every day brought new stories of betrayal, lost fortunes, and dreams delayed. But Amma and Ebube believed that faith, hard work, and honest love could overcome all. It began with a cough. Chisholm, usually energetic, started coming home tired and listless, complaining of stomach pains and yellowing eyes. Amma at first thought it was malaria or typhoid, the usual suspects. She tried local herbs and extra rest, but Chisholm only worsened. One evening, she found him collapsed on the floor, his skin hot, his breath shallow. Amma's panic was silent but fierce. She wrapped him in a wrapper, flagged down a keka, and rushed him to a small clinic in Rumuola. There, under the harsh fluorescent lights, the doctor ran a series of tests. Amma waited, praying with her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles whitened. The diagnosis was devastating. Chisholm had a rare liver condition. Surgery was the only option, and it had to be done immediately. "How much, doctor?" Amma's voice was almost a whisper. The doctor looked away, uncomfortable. "NL1, 2 million. The number crashed over Amma like a tidal wave. Her entire savings, after months of pinching, barely reached N72,000. She pleaded for a payment plan, begged for time, but the doctor only shook his head. "We don't have time, madam. Your brother needs the operation now." Amma left the clinic, feeling like the world had tilted on its axis. Her steps home were slow, mechanical. That night, she knelt by her foam mattress, the Bible open to Psalm 23, her tears wetting the page. "Lord, you said you are my shepherd. Where is the green pasture for my brother?" She prayed and wept, but the heavens were silent. The next morning, Amma confided in Abub. He listened, his jaw clenched, silent tears slipping down his cheeks. He was not a man who cried easily, but this was different. He vowed to help. "I will sell my motorcycle," he promised. "It's all I have, but maybe it will bring N200,000. It was not enough. Days passed, and Chisholm's condition worsened. He was admitted to the clinic, hooked to drips, his eyes now a sickly yellow. Amma was frantic. She stopped eating, stopped sleeping, spent every spare moment at her brother's bedside, her prayers becoming more desperate, less coherent. It was at this breaking point that Sade entered Amma's story. Sade was a friend and colleague at the school, a curvy, confident woman with caramel-brown skin and a taste for fashionable Ankara blouses and bold accessories. She was Amma's opposite in many ways, worldly, shrewd, sometimes a little too quick to cut corners. But her heart was loyal. One afternoon, seeing Amma's gaunt cheeks and hollow eyes, Sade sat her down in the teacher's lounge. "Amma, you look like a ghost." "What is it?" Amma told her everything. Sade listened, face serious. "Listen, there is someone who can help," Sade said quietly, passing her a business card. "Chief Barabor Tamuno. He's helped many women before. He can pay for the surgery." Amma stared at the card, suspicion and hope warring in her heart. "What will he want in return?" Sade shrugged. "He's not a wicked man, but he will want something. Just one night. You can pretend it never happened. Chisholm will live." Amma recoiled. "God forbid. I would rather die than—" "Amma," Sade interrupted, her voice gentle but firm. "Sometimes God's answer comes in ways we don't like." That night, Amma's prayers became a battle. She wept, pleaded, bargained, even shouted at God. But no answer came. At Chisholm's bedside, his breathing shallow, his hand gripping hers with the last of his strength, Amma broke. She wrote 2 letters, one to God, asking for forgiveness, the other to Abub, apologizing for what she was about to do. She called the number on the card. Chief Barabor Tamuno was a man accustomed to getting his way. In his early 60s, he was stocky, balding, and always dressed in expensive, richly embroidered caftans. His gold wristwatch glinted as he shook Amma's hand at the lobby of the Continental Hotel, his smile warm but predatory. Amma felt like she was floating above herself, watching the scene unfold. The suite was all gold and glass, with a panoramic view of the city lights. Chief poured her a drink, which she declined, then sat beside her, his hand heavy on her thigh. "You're a strong woman," he said, voice smooth as oil. "I respect that." Amma said nothing. The night passed in a blur of shame and numbness. When it was over, Amma showered until her skin was raw, but she could not wash away the stain she felt inside. True to his word, Chief Tamuno paid for Chisholm's surgery the next morning. He even dropped a large sum into Abub's bank account, anonymously. "Let him start his garage," he told Amma, smiling. "Your brother will live. Life must go on." Amma left the hotel before dawn. The city still shrouded in darkness. She did not go home. She could not bear to see Chisholm or Abub or anyone who had known her as she was. She took a job as a teacher in Elelenwo, far from Rumokuta. She stopped singing in church, stopped attending her old fellowship. She lived quietly, renting a small room, never smiling, never speaking more than necessary. The Amma who had once danced and prayed and laughed was gone. Back in Rumokuta, Chisholm's operation was a success. He recovered quickly, unaware of the price his sister had paid. Ebube, meanwhile, was confused but relieved. The sudden windfall in his account allowed him to finally open a small mechanic's shop. But Amma's disappearance tormented him. He searched for her, called her endlessly, but her number was switched off. He went to Sade, who shook her head, feigning ignorance. Months passed. One Sunday, Ebube visited the hospital to thank the doctors for saving Chisholm's life. During the visit, the consultant mentioned Chief Tamuno's generosity, noting how he had paid for the operation of your woman's brother. The truth hit Ebube like a blow to the chest. The puzzle pieces fell into place. The anonymous payment, Amma's sudden disappearance, Sade's evasiveness. He confronted Sade, who, seeing his anguish, finally confessed. She did it for you, Ebube, for Chisholm. She sacrificed herself. Ebube was shattered. He wandered the streets of Port Harcourt in a daze, the rain soaking his clothes, his tears mixing with the water streaming down his face. But love, real love, is not so easily destroyed. With renewed determination, Ebube set out to find Amma. He checked schools in Elelenwo, finally spotting her name on a staff list. He waited outside the school gates, heart pounding, hands sweating. When Amma saw him, she froze. He walked up to her, his voice soft. Amma. I'm not who you remember, she said, eyes downcast. Please, go. Ebube shook his head. You think I care? You saved my brother. You saved my dream. Why did you go through this alone? Amma began to cry. I couldn't let you carry the shame. Let me carry it with you, Ebube said, voice breaking. That's what love is. They stood there, under the blazing sun, years of pain pouring out in their tears. With time, Amma let herself believe in forgiveness, God's, Ebube's, and eventually her own. Their wedding was a modest affair in a small church. Amma wore a borrowed gown, Ebube a simple suit. Chisholm, now stronger, walked her down the aisle, his eyes shining with pride. Amma returned to her first love, worship. Her voice was different now, deeper, richer, laced with sorrow and hope. Her story spread through the city of a woman who gave all for love, and of a man who loved her not despite her past, but because of her strength. This is the story of Amarachi, of love that survives the flames, and faith that is tested but never destroyed, of forgiveness given and received, and of hope born from the deepest pain. The end. If this story touched your heart, please share, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more interesting African stories. See you next time, and thanks for watching.